right, hello, time for math. We are doing lesson 5-2 today. 5-4, which is dividing multiples of 10. So make sure you have your notebook out. Make sure it's labeled with that lesson. We're skipping 5-3, so don't be concerned about that. And put the date at the top. Okay, and we're going to get started. So remember, you can pause the video as we're going through if you need to stop so you have a chance to write something. Okay, make sure you have your book open to 5-4, and we're going to talk about that problem at the top of the page there with the school bus. Okay, I got to take my glasses off so I can read it. This year, a group of 249 students are taking a field trip. One bus is needed for every 20 students. How many buses are needed? Okay, so we've got 249 students, and we've got to split them up into groups of 20. So we're taking that 249 and dividing it by 20. Okay, and we're going to kind of use this problem as an example to write some steps. So I'm going to move this over a little bit so we can talk about steps to do these kind of problems. Okay, and my first question is going to be, we should know this because this is really the same steps we've been doing. We're just adding a double-digit divisor here, okay, in this chapter. All right, so my first question is, how many times does 20 go into 2? Okay, how many times does 20 go into 2? It's the same question we've been asking in the last chapter. Well, none, right? So we're going to put an X. 20 doesn't go into 2. Okay, so I'm going to move it over a little, make sure we get all those words in there. You might miss a little bit of my face, but really what's on the board is the most important. Okay, so 20 goes into 2 no times. Okay, so what's my second question going to be? How many times does 20 go into 24, right? How many times does 20 go into 24? 1 time. So I'm going to put a 1 here. Okay? And for step 3, I'm just going to put, does McDonald's serve cheeseburgers raw? With our repeat. Okay? Divide, multiply, subtract, check, bring down, repeat. Okay? And we're going to keep doing that in this problem. So we did the divide step. 20 goes into 24 1 time. So now we do the multiply step. What's 1 times 20? Well, 1 times 20 is 20. So my next step is subtract. 24 minus 20 is 4. Now I check. Is 4 smaller than 20? Yes, it is. So I can bring down. And now I repeat. Okay? How many times does 20 go into 49? Well, remember, all I'm really thinking is how many times does 2 go into 4? Okay, remember 20 just has that 0 added on. Remember, look at, I'll put it down here and then I'm going to erase it. Just put it somewhere in your paper where you have room. Remember how to do 20 times 2? I just bring that 0 down here. And 2 times 2 is 4. So 20 times 2 is 40. I'm just adding 2 times 2 is 4 and 20 times 2 is 40. I'm just adding that 0 on. We did that a long time ago in one of our multiplication chapters, okay? So remember that skill. So 20 goes into 49 2 times because 2 times 2 is 4. So 20 times 2 is 40. So then I multiply. 2 times 20 is 40. And I subtract. Okay? 49 minus 40 is 9. Okay? And that's my remainder. I don't have anything else to bring down. Now, let's go back to the question. And the question was, how many buses are they going to need? Okay? Well, remember, this is kind of that interpret step of the word problem solving process, okay? Where I have to say, well, I can't have 12 remainder 9 buses. So how many buses would I need to transport all these kids? I would need 13 buses. And then I'm going to write that out for my answer. So here's my answer. I would need 13 buses, okay? All right? All right, what I want you to do is to work on the guided practice, okay? I want you to pause the video. I want you to do the 6 guided practice problems, and then I want you to turn the video back on, and I'm going to put the answers up here, and you can check and see how you did, okay? All right, number 1 was 345 divided by 30. Okay, so 30 goes into 3 no times. 30 goes into 34 one time. I multiply. 30 times 1 is 30. Subtract. I get 4. I check. 4 is smaller than 30, so I can bring down the 5. And now I repeat. How many times does 3 go into 4? Only one time. That means 30 goes into 45 one time. Multiply. 30 times 1 is 30. Subtract. I get 15. I check. Is 15 smaller than 30? Yes, it is. This isn't a word problem, so I don't have to interpret that answer. That's my answer. 11, remainder 15. Okay. All right, number 2 was 282 divided by 20. How many times does 20 go into 2? It doesn't. How many times does 20 go into 28? Once. 1 times 20 is 20. Subtract. Now I check. Is 8 smaller than 20? Yes, it is. So I can bring down this 2. And now I repeat. How many times does 2 go into 8? 4 times. So 20 will go into 82 4 times. What is 4 times 20? Well, remember, 4 times 2 is 8. So 4 times 20 is just 80. Now I check. Is 2 smaller than 20? Yes, it is. There's nothing else to bring down, so I am done. So my answer there is 14, remainder 2. All right, number 3. Remember, you should be fixing these if you've made any mistakes, okay? So if you've made any mistakes, you need to pause the video where you can see the problem there and fix what you did wrong, okay? All right, number 3 is 467 divided by 50. All right, so how many times does 50 go into 4? Well, it doesn't. How many times does 50 go into 46? It doesn't. 50 is bigger than 46, so this is an interesting one. So how many times does 50 go into 467? Oh my goodness. Well, think of it this way. How many times does 5 go into 46? 9 times, right? And if you're like, well, I'm not really sure, try it off to the side. What is 50 times 9? On the video. There we go. 450. Well, 450 is really close to 467, so that's going to be my answer. I have to put a 9 there. And then I multiply. 50 times 9, we just did it, is 450. And then I have to subtract, and I get 17. Well, now I check. Is 17 smaller than 50? Yes, it is, and there's nothing else to bring down, so that's my answer. 9, remainder 17, and I bet that was a tricky one for some of you, so make sure you pause that and fix it if you need to, okay? All right, number 4. Number 4 was 60 into 841. All right, how many times does 60 go into 8? It doesn't. How many times does 60 go into 84? 1 time. Now I multiply. What's 60 times 1? 60. I subtract and I get, oops, not 14, Mrs. Willard, 24. Is 24 smaller than 60? It is. Okay, bring down the 1. Here's another spot where you might be kind of like, I don't know. How many times does 6 go into 24? Think of that. Well, 6 goes into 24 4 times. So multiply that off to the side if you're like, maybe. Well, 60 times 4 is 240, so that's perfect, right? So that would be a 4. I multiply. 60 times 4 is 240. I subtract and I get a 1. I check. Is 1 smaller than 60? It is. There's nothing else to bring down, so that's my remainder. So 14, remainder 1. All right. All right. The video is starting to get a little bit long, so I'm going to just put the 2 answers up for number 5 and 6. All right. So number 5, the answer is 10, remainder 13. And I want you to go back and look at that, see if you can find your mistake. Okay, and number 6 is 9, remainder 46. Okay, go back and look at those. Those of you that are in class, I'll help you. We'll talk about them if you didn't get those. And if you're at home, look at your own. Maybe ask mom and dad or brother or sister or something, but see if you can figure out where you made a mistake there if you still didn't get those. Okay? All right, have a wonderful day. I love you guys. You're doing a great job. Bye.